Thank you everyone for joining our webinar this morning on using Texas OnCourse Academy. We've made some improvements to Texas OnCourse Academy that really ensure that this critical resource is relevant, valuable, and easy to use. During this webinar, we'll walk through some of the key features and get all your questions answered. All attendees will receive a follow-up email with highlights from the webinar and a link to access the recording. We'll also post this webinar on our website, texasoncourse.org. So feel free to share the webinar with your colleagues that will find this information helpful when using Texas OnCourse Academy for continued professional development, and also those helping students and families with college and career planning. And so here are a few tools that will really help you change your settings and make sure that you're actively participating during the webinar. Keep in mind that all attendees are muted to ensure that you can hear each speaker and the information they share. We will save time at the end for for all of you attending to ask any questions that may come up during the webinar, and we will make sure to address them all. You can add those in the chat box or in the Q&A section. This first setting here that you have allows you to just be able to adjust the speaker volume and your audio settings. This allows you to basically raise your hand and also lower your hand, located right in between that chat and Q&A icon. And then this Q&A section allows you to submit questions and also comments throughout the webinar, and we again will address those at the end. And then you also have the option to view the menu and adjust the display so you can use the original size or enter the full screen mode as well. So here is our agenda for today's webinar. So we will start off with brief introductions and let everyone contributing to the webinar quickly introduce themselves. We'll jump into a dashboard overview, which will be provided by Sandra Bissett, and then transition to talk about the module structure, as well as how you go about demonstrating mastery of the module content. Jeff Hodson will provide information on just the overall learning experience of completing modules within the Academy. And I will close out the webinar with a quick review of our Academy syllabus and share some information about upcoming webinars. And then we will have an opportunity for you to ask questions as well as share any information about any of the information that's shared throughout the webinar. So I'll start off with my own short introduction. So my name is Jaslyn Green. I am the Associate Director for Content and Resources at Texas OnCourse. I have a background in college and career advising, and I oversee an amazing team here at Texas OnCourse that really ensures the content and resources included in all of our tools is quality, accurate, relevant, and also engaging for you as educators and advisors.
Hi, I am Sandra Bissett. I'm a product manager for the Academy. So I try to make updates to the Academy, make sure that it's working effectively for our advisors and counselors, and make sure that everything functions the way it is supposed to. So I'm always here to hear your feedback. If there's anything you can think of that could improve the Academy, I definitely want to hear that from you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Hodson, the Assistant Director of Instructional Design here at Texas OnCourse. My background is in adult education and instructional design, and I am responsible for overseeing the learning experience for all the products we have here at Texas OnCourse.
All right, and with that, we will turn it over to Sandra to start off with our dashboard overview. Sandra.
Okay. All right. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. I know probably a lot of you have seen this before, but just in case some of you haven't, I'd like to kind of give an overview of the dashboard and then go into more detail and highlight some of the features. So when you log in, this is what you'll see. You'll see the Texas OnCourse dashboard overview, kind of front and center in the page is your progress. So you can see, for the example of myself, I've completed the college cost module. I've completed one of the modules within scholarship application process and 2 in financial aid application process. I can go into the different functional areas and see my progress right from the main screen. If you know that you want to jump right in and complete one of those modules, you can click here and it'll take you directly to that page to get started. Another feature we have from the dashboard, you can also access the Middle Galaxy dashboard, check out different course codes, look at student progress, as well as our data dive tool without leaving the Academy. If you visit one of those tools, all you have to do to get back is click on the Academy here and you'll get back to this dashboard page. Another thing I'd like to highlight, we feature new content in the upper right quadrant here. Anytime we add something new or make a significant update, we'll add some information here. You can go right directly to that content from this new content area on the screen. Another nice feature, if you log in, want to jump right back into where you were before, you'll see we have last unit visited. For me, it was FAFSA additional resources. I can jump right back there, get back to the additional resources section of the FAFSA module and pick up right where I left off. If for any reason you need to contact us or get more information, or you have to look up a term, you can locate that in the lower left quadrant. You can find out information about your old badges from the previous version of the Academy, contact our support, utilize our glossary, or get information about university web accessibility. If you need to make any sort of change to your account, you can do that from here. You would just click on your name up here in the upper right, and it would take you to your profile page where you can make edits to your account, change your email address, update your name, and so forth. And again, if you have any issues with that, you can always contact our support, but it should be fairly straightforward to do that. When you go in to explore our modules, there's a couple of things I wanted to highlight. You'll see that our functional areas are listed here at the top, and then the different competencies are listed below. The modules can be a little bit tricky to navigate to the first time through. So you'll see FAFSA comes up right away. If I click on this number 2, it'll bring up TAFSA. And if I click on number 3, it'll bring up CSS profile. Once I complete all of these, I'll get my financial aid application process badge. Going back to the dashboard, another thing I would like to highlight is the improved search capabilities. We're continually working to make the dashboard easier to navigate. One of the ways we've done this is to improve the search quite a bit. So for example, say I wanted to know the difference between SAT and ACT. I could enter that into the search. You'd see the search results. I can click on it. It'll take me right to the section of the SAT module that compares the SAT and the ACT. So that's one improvement we've made recently that we think will make it a lot easier for you to navigate around the dashboard and to access information that you need as quickly as possible. If you just want to get a quick look over all of the modules we have available, you can do that by going to the module directory. You'll see them listed in alphabetical order. And again, anytime you need to navigate back to the dashboard, you just click on the dashboard and it'll take you back to this main page. One additional thing that we've added recently that I'd like to highlight is the ability to view all of your badges and certificates and to print them right from your screen. You click view my badges and certificates, you can see I have my certificate for college costs. I can click on that, click print, and either save as a PDF to my computer or print it out to a printer. You can do that if you need to submit CPE credit. You don't have to go through us any longer to get your certificate. So we hope that will be very useful to you as well. I am going to go ahead and turn the screen back over to Javelin so that she can show you an example of what a certificate looks like when you print it. And you can see what that will, how it will appear. Again, if you have any questions about the dashboard or suggestions for improvements, please definitely let us know. We're always here to hear your feedback.
Thank you, Sandra. As Sandra mentioned, you have the ability to print both your certificates and also your badges at any time. So here's an example of what a printable certificate looks like. As you can see, it includes information about the topic area that you mastered, along with a specific date, and also continuing professional education credit hours that you've earned. So we definitely encourage you to utilize that tool as you guys are submitting your record of continuing professional education credit. Now that we've walked through the Academy dashboard, we'd like to dive into a module and highlight a few key features related to completing a module, some of which you may be familiar with and others that may be new to you. We'll start off by briefly reviewing the structure of a module and highlighting key features that you'll find in each module included in Texas OnCourse Academy. Each module included in the Academy begins with an introduction. The introduction really provides information about the purpose of each module topic. In addition to the content included in the introduction, each module has a 1 to 2 minute video that highlights key topics covered throughout each module. And it's really the best way to learn what content you'll encounter in each module without actually diving into the module. The module introduction videos are also available to view on our Texas OnCourse YouTube channel. After completing the module introduction, you'll be taken to the pre-assessment. We recognize that you as educators and advisors come with a wealth of knowledge from the field, so the pre-assessment is our way of giving you credit for your prior knowledge. This way you can really focus on the module content that you may not be as familiar with. We'd like to highlight that this does not exclude you from gaining access to the content that you are already familiar with. So if you can still view any content and resources included in the sections that you've mastered by successfully completing the pre-assessment, and we definitely encourage you to check out those content areas that you've already mastered and those resources included within them. After completing the pre-assessment, you will have an opportunity to dive into the module content. Before, I mentioned one way to get a quick overview of the module content is by visiting and viewing the module introduction. Another way is by viewing the module units. So this is a snapshot of the units for the free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA module. As you can see here, I can quickly see that completion and verification renewal are going to be topics that are covered within this module. If you click on any unit within the module, it will expand, allowing you an opportunity to also view specific subtopics that will be covered throughout each unit. For example, if you had a student or family come into the office with a specific question about the Federal Student Aid ID, you could quickly access this information by selecting the FSA ID Frequently Asked Questions subtopic and be taken directly to that content within the module. This is a great way to quickly gain access to specific information that's relevant to your student and family advising sessions, or even to answer questions your colleague may have about a specific topic. So we definitely encourage you to go in and quickly access those topics that you may have quick questions around, or your colleagues may have quick questions around. At the end of each module, we also have an additional resources section. This section is a great way to gain access to URLs, PDFs, PowerPoints, and even infographics that we have included throughout each of the modules. So you may, for example, say you may want to view a PDF that you really want to share with the student, but you were unsure where it was located within the module. So you can quickly locate the PDF document by visiting the additional resources section of the module. We also have module resources available on our Pinterest page located at pinterest.com/TexasOnCourse. So let's further discuss options for sharing these resources. We heard you loud and clear when you guys provided feedback around, I want to just be able to share this information quickly in different sessions that you have with students or families or even staff members on school. And so we have, let's say you have a new colleague who comes in and just really needs all the resources about completing the FAFSA. And so here you actually have the option to share all resources included in the module at once. So here's the FAFSA module, has about 35 links to share. So you would select your preferred method, whether it's via Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, or even email, and share all those resources with your colleague. If you select the three dots located near the email icon, you will also have the option to share all resources via Google, or even receive an embed code that allows you to adjust both the width and height, so you can also embed those within your own website. You also have the option to share individual resources. So maybe instead of a colleague, you have a parent or guardian you'd like to share information about a specific topic. So by selecting the share icon located on any resource, you will be provided with the same sharing options as before for sharing the individual resources. So you can now quickly email a parent or guardian the resource that you thought would be most helpful in getting their questions answered, or even mass email this resource to a group of parents and guardians. So we definitely encourage you to utilize this feature as well. In addition to the module structure, we'd like to highlight how to demonstrate mastery of the module content as you're completing the module. So one way to master the content included in the module is by successfully completing the module pre-assessment. At the conclusion of the pre-assessment, you will see a similar screen to this one that provides additional information about what to do next. After selecting the Next button, you will return to the Explore Modules page that contains the outline. When you return to the Explore Modules page, you will have an opportunity to visit all the units that you did or did not master from the pre-assessment. As you can see, the units that are mastered are indicated by the green star, and those that you did not master or that you're still learning are also indicated by a gray star. For this snapshot, you can see that I've mastered the entire college finances module because I have a green star next to the module title. Another way to master module content is by successfully completing the unit test your mastery questions. So each unit has 2 to 4 test your mastery questions at the end that allow you to demonstrate mastery of content covered within a specific unit. After mastering the content, you will see a similar congratulations message as shown here, indicating that you've mastered the content in a particular unit of a module. One thing we'd like to point out is that although you've mastered the module content, it does not mean that you shouldn't revisit this information. As you all know, college and career information is continuously changing, and new information is shared from the organizations or even legislative requirements and mandates. And so Texas OnCourse Academy is really meant to be a professional development resource that you as educators and advisors can continue to engage with. So whether it's coming back to the Academy to see which modules have new content, or using the content and resources with any individual meetings or group sessions that you have with students and families, we definitely encourage you to continue to visit Texas OnCourse Academy. And now I will turn it over to Jeff Hassan to share highlights about the overall learning experience when completing a module. Jeff?
Thanks, Jaslyn. So, hi everyone. One of our primary goals for the Academy is to provide an engaging, authentic, and relevant learning experience. So I just want to take a few minutes to highlight some of the ways we accomplish that. And so let's start with the Test Your Mastery assessments. Jaslyn did a great job, talking about how you can master units through these assessments. The design, having these at the end of the unit, gives you flexibility to complete modules 1 unit at a time or several in one session. You also get to practice and master content in a way that fits your busy schedule and promotes long-term memory. We've also designed the questions themselves to focus on application of knowledge rather than rote memorization, leading to more meaningful learning. For example, many of the questions use scenarios based on authentic advising situations. This provides a more realistic and practical learning experience where you can practice answering important questions without worrying about real life consequences. Now let's shift gears a little bit from the assessments and look at some of the ways you'll interact with the content in the Academy. First, we'll continue on the theme of scenarios. We've included these throughout the content, not just in the assessments. So here on screen, you'll see an interactive case study based on NCAA and NAIA amateurism requirements. And so this is kind of a complex topic. And so having the scenarios really helps to be able to practice and explore the decisions and consequences that go into that said topic. So these have similar benefits to, sorry, can you back up? Yep. So these scenarios still have the similar benefits to the test your mastery, but they allow you to go a little bit more in depth, and explore, as I said. So the next activities, as you just saw, will focus more on reflection. So there's a quote attributed to John Dewey that says, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." So we believe it's important for you to manage and monitor your own learning. So we've provided several opportunities for reflection on your own personal learning and circumstances. The example on this screen is one that asks you a question and allows for an open response. Then you also see the pop-up in front of the response that gives you a little bit of feedback based on the question. We also provide several other types of reflection activities that we'll show on the next screen here. So here you'll see a sorting reflection activity. These activities often ask you about what you think is most or least important, allowing you to reflect on your own student circumstances and your school's circumstances as well. Other reflection activities in the Academy include multiple choice and ratings. And again, these activities are really to help you monitor and kind of take charge of your own learning and to reflect at where you're at. So now I'll move on to the next two activities, and these highlight more of getting you interactive and engaging with the content itself. So the first one here is a flashcard activity. This one is about frequently asked questions for scholarship application. So the front side of the card, which is the lighter blue color, has a prompt or a question, and then when you click on it, it flips over to reveal more context or the answer, which you can see on the far right. The third one on the right has been flipped over, which is the white card. So as you explore the Academy, you'll often see that we use flashcards for frequently asked questions. We recognize you get a lot of questions around topics in the module, so we want you to be able to access quickly access and highlight common questions you'll receive. The cards also allow you to focus on the questions and topics that are most relevant to you. You get to select which ones you want to explore. Now the last activity I'll highlight is the accordion. And so similar to flashcards, the accordion allows you to expand topics that are most interesting and relevant to you. Once you're done looking at a topic, you can click it again and it'll collapse it so you don't have to see it anymore. Again, this cuts down on screen clutter and helps with text-heavy content, allows you to really focus on what matters to you and your students. So, and that's all I have regarding learning experience. We're really excited about this new Academy and the activities that we've been able to include, and hope you are as well. And I'll pass it back to Jaslyn.
Great. Thank you, Jeff, for sharing those highlights about the overall learning experience. As we prepare to wrap up the webinar, we'd like to highlight our Academy syllabus that provides additional information regarding all the topics covered in Texas OnCourse Academy, along with a number of continuing professional education credit hours available to earn. You can locate the Academy syllabus by visiting our website, texasoncourse.org, and typing the word syllabus into the search bar. This allows you to quickly gain access to the Academy syllabus. So for our career pathways and financial aid content areas, here are all the topics we cover in the Academy. The career pathways area really addresses advising students and families on things like identifying student career interests and pathways to achieving those career aspirations, along with how do I really gain that real world experience. When we're looking at the financial aid content area, this one focuses on helping students and families understand the cost of post-secondary education and also training and the available financial aid, types of financial aid that are also available. In addition to those areas, we also have post-secondary pathways and specialties content area. The post-secondary pathways area addresses things with helping students and families on selecting, preparing, and also applying for post-secondary opportunities, whether that's college, career, or military. While the specialties area really helps those families on specialized topics related to post-secondary and career planning. So here we have information on supporting students with disabilities, advising highly mobile students, which are defined as students who transition more than 6 times during their K-12 career, and also how to begin college and career readiness at the middle school level. As we mentioned before, this information on each of the topics are continuously changing, so we definitely encourage you to continue to revisit the Academy to stay up to date on the latest changes. We wanted to take a few minutes to share information regarding our upcoming monthly webinar series. So in December, we'll have a webinar that will cover an overview of the Texas A through F accountability system and how to make an impact on your campus and district grade using Texas OnCourse resources. Also in January, we'll cover resources for working with families with special circumstances. Remember to register and you will receive the recording and resources that we cover in those webinars. We hope we've highlighted some helpful information about using Texas OnCourse Academy, and now we'll open it up for questions, so feel free to add any comments or questions in the chat box or the Q&A section, and we will have our team answer each of those questions live. All right, well, that concludes our webinar. We thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to join our webinar on using Texas OnCourse Academy, and remind you that we will share a follow-up email with the recording, links, and also resources soon. So thank you all again for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.